Seriously, you drive me nuts. I told you from day one housework isn't my thing. Stop dumping stuff on me when you know I'm bad at it.
Chris grumbled, taking another swig of his beer and giving me that all too familiar annoyed look. I hesitated for a second under his piercing eyes, but shot back. Hey, I work too. Even if housework isn't your strong suit, how about just tossing your clothes in the wash at least? I was aware Chris wasn't Mr. Domestic when we tied the knot, but seriously? Tossing dirty laundry shouldn't be rocket science.
I told you, work's crazy right now. I'm burning the candle at both ends, and then I come home to laundry lectures? Isn't housework and kids stuff traditionally the woman's gig? Handle it and quit griping at me.
He fired back. The notion that all household duties and childcare are the woman's job feels so last century. I bit my tongue, holding back a retort, but Chris, taking my silence as a victory, went on.
While we're on the topic, you're not exactly Mrs. Perfect Homemaker. You cut corners too, so drop the act.
I'm solo on the kid front, remember? Nailing every chore daily isn't doable. That's why I need some backup here. His answer was a sarcastic smirk.
Want me pitching in on chores? Then out-earn me. Until then, don't even think about calling the shots.
He punctuated his rant with a raised hand, causing a loud noise that reverberated in the room. I'm Naomi, juggling a job and 2 daughters, and living with Chris, the husband who thinks home duties are below him. Going solo raising our kids, especially when Molly, our eldest in 2nd grade, gets sick often, is a real challenge. Her health isn't dire, she just catches bugs easily. Knowing she can live a normal life with the right care, I decided to punch back into the workforce, grinding for our future. Hey there! On my off day, my sis-in-law Erica, who lives close by, dropped by. Brought this for later, she chirped, holding up a treat. Aw, thanks, Erica. Look, Molly, Erica's got cake. Both Molly and our little one, Sarah, were over the moon. Erica and I are tight. Living solo in our area, she once had an office gig, but her childcare dream beckoned, and she's now prepping to make it official. Super swamped, she still makes time for my girls, popping by for some fun. Chris, seriously? Both of you work, but you're cool with Naomi shouldering all the home stuff? Erica, never mincing words, regularly calls him out for his slacking.
All that home and kids stuff? That's a woman's job. Kids want their mom anyway.
Chris, get with the times. That's such an archaic mindset. How about giving Naomi a hand? When his sis stepped in, my normally outspoken hubby clammed up. His sister's words seemed to carry more weight than mine, and I appreciated the backup. Chris, swamped at work, has been clocking in some serious OT, coming home super late and even slogging through weekends. When he's finally home, his routine doesn't change. He'll drop his clothes wherever and crack open a cold one. Wiped out from my job, endless chores, and parenting, I finally let out. Is it too much to ask for you to pick up your clothes?
If you got beef with it, handle it. I'm beat.
Join the club. Our kids can at least tidy up after themselves. Can't you pitch in a little? My bubbling frustration over his non-existent help boiled over. Clearly peeved, he downed the rest of his beer and gave me a piercing glare.
How many times have I told you housework isn't my thing? Lay off.
But I shot back. Guess what? I work too. A little assistance here and there wouldn't hurt. Even something small like tossing your clothes in the laundry. Before marrying, he'd always lived at home and never got the hang of chores. I attempted to coach him post-wedding, but it didn't stick. So naturally, everything fell on me. Balancing a job and caring for our girls, all I was asking for was him tackling simple tasks like sending his dirty clothes to the laundry.
I've made it clear work's nuts for me right now. I'm clocking more hours than you. I come back dead tired and you're on my case about dirty socks. Isn't it traditional for women to cover housework and kids stuff? Get on it. This conversation's over.
He barked. Housework is a woman's thing? Seriously, what century is this? Angrily, I fell silent, but seeing this, he smirked and continued attacking.
And you think you're the gold standard for chores? You're not exactly spotless, yet here you are griping.
I'm practically solo parenting here. Perfect isn't an option every day. That's the whole reason I've been hounding you for backup. He just scoffed.
Want me on board? Out-earn me. Do that and we'll talk. Until then, zip it.
His hand shot up threateningly. Back off! Don't you dare! He chucked his empty beer can in the direction of the trash can near me. It missed, but the clang made me jump. He stormed out with a snarky huff. Mom, everything okay? I was taken aback to find my older daughter Molly and her little sister gazing up at me, worried. I'm good, honey. Did the noise wake you? Nope. Sarah needed the restroom and I was on it. Don't worry, I'll tuck her back in. Molly, always looking out for her sis, is such a gem. She's blossomed into such a sweet soul. Thinking of her and then Chris. I sighed heavily. One day Erica popped in as usual. Where's Chris hiding? He's swamped at work. Won't be back till late. You should stick around for dinner. She agreed, though something seemed off, not her typical bubbly self. You okay? She hesitated, locking eyes with me, took a deep breath and said, There's something you need to know. Her news floored me, and so I made a decision. A few days later, during my day off, a younger coworker landed in the hospital with appendicitis, pulling me into work. But wouldn't you know it, Molly wasn't feeling great that morning. She had a touch of a fever, but duty called. Erica, my usual backup, was tied up with an exam. My folks are no longer around, and my in-laws are states away. While I was in a tizzy, Chris sauntered in, all cozy in his PJs. I'd assumed he was on the clock, but turns out he had the day free. Perfect, I thought. I left the girls with him and zipped to work. Thanks to my tight teamwork with my younger colleague, things flowed smoothly. But just as the clock nudged past 3 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was Erica, sounding all kinds of alarmed. Turns out Molly had been whisked off to the ER. Erica, popping by post-exam, had found Molly passed out in our yard with a distraught Sarah by her side. To top it off, it was a scorcher that day, soaring to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Despite Erica's best efforts, all Sarah could relay was her confusion and fear. With the house locked tight, Erica's quick thinking had her dialing 911. Dashing to the hospital, I found a newly conscious Molly. Oh, Molly! Thank goodness. Her hug was tight, but her words floored me. Daddy kicked us out! She went on to say that midday, as her fever seemed to wane, he shooed them outside, saying he had company coming. No hats, no water, just out. They tried chilling at the park, but Molly's health took a nosedive, forcing them back. No luck getting inside, even after endless doorbell rings. Hence the shadowy reprieve at our home's side, probably why no neighbors spotted them. What the? Boy, was I steaming. After chatting with the doc, Molly was set for an overnight stay. Glancing at my phone, I saw a barrage of missed calls from Chris. On calling him back, he was in a tizzy.
I turned my back for a second and now they're missing.
I snapped. And where were you?
I thought Molly was better, so I, went shopping. Got back, they weren't here.
His flimsy cover story reeked of lies. Molly has passed away. With that, I abruptly hung up the phone. He was clearly shaken, and it was evident that he was lying. Erica, with me in the room, wasn't buying it either. Choosing to crash at Erica's for a bit, I left Sarah in her care. On a pit stop home for essentials, Chris pounced, hungry for answers. How could she die of heat stroke when you were supposed to be home?
It's not on me. They must have gone rogue in the heat. They never listen.
His lame attempt at dodging blame had my skin crawling. I've got a funeral to plan. Keep your distance. I left, barely holding back from decking him. Putting our kids in harm's way and then fibbing about it, he sunk to a new low. Unforgivable. My fists were white-knuckled with rage. Fast forward a week. Chris, seriously? My shout had him and his lady friend doing a double take, scrambling to get decent in our bedroom.
A heads up would have been nice.
He and his fling scrambled to throw on clothes. Cheating, huh? Let's call it quits. I slapped some papers in his face. With photo proof of his little escapade and divorce docs in hand, he blanched. I'd had my suspicions about his overtime and weekend shifts. Erica's tidbit about spotting him cozy with a mystery woman downtown was the last straw. After that one sighting from Erica, without a photo to boot, I decided to play it safe and hire a private investigator. For good measure, I also sneaked some hidden cameras around the house. While bunking at Erica's, I got the PI's report, confirming Chris was stepping out. Armed with divorce papers, I faced him.
How'd you figure out about her?
He stammered. The cameras feed directly to my phone. I shot back, showing them the not-so-innocent footage from just minutes before our dramatic entrance. Both of their faces lost all color. Turns out his little side fling was a notorious colleague known for her less-than-ethical pursuits of any guy, ring or no ring. What's so special about her? Honestly, the thought of being related to you makes my skin crawl. Erica's temper flared, but Chris snapped.
This is between Naomi and me, not you.
But then, like a scene from a movie, the front door swings open and in walks my in-laws. They'd been delayed by traffic, but I'd looped them in with a video proof. They were livid.
Oh my gosh, Chris. Chris, explain.
They demanded. After getting an earful from his folks, he was a mess, sweating bullets and looking everywhere but at me. The other woman got the boot pretty quickly, and both Erica and his parents laid into him. They made him ink the divorce papers and sign an agreement to stay away from the kids.
The kids? Plural?
He asked, genuinely confused. Molly's fine, but you're not seeing her. Just thought I'd let you know before I ask for child support and alimony, I said, keeping my tone frosty. The next day, I didn't waste any time filing those papers and went after both him and his fling for alimony. Word got out at their office, and let's just say they weren't exactly the office favorites. The cops got involved because, well, neglecting a kid is serious business. Turned out, on that horrible day, he was with her. She ended up quitting her job, and after he couldn't support her anymore, she dumped all his dirty laundry at work, which got him to quit too. One evening, out of the blue, Chris showed up, probably after keeping tabs on Erica's place.
Naomi, can we talk? Maybe try again?
He pleaded, inching closer, but I wasn't buying his act. He just didn't want to pay up. I shut him down quick. Not in a million years. But he wasn't taking the hint and grabbed my arm. Back off, I yelled. Right on cue, Molly and Sarah come home. Sarah, bless her heart, set off her personal alarm, which she always carries in her bag. That ear-piercing sound got everyone's attention. He tried to make a break for it, but a nearby cop wasn't letting him get away. A bit later, with a big assist from my ex-in-laws, we started fresh in a new place. The police had a few more questions for Chris. His parents were livid and made sure he got a job at a family-owned construction site to keep him in line and ensure he paid his dues. Nowadays, it's me and my girls. Erica's as close as ever, always telling Sarah she's a champ for setting off that alarm. She also passed her childcare worker exam, so we've got a party in the works. Molly's back in school and shining brighter than ever. Seeing them, I'm more determined than ever to be the best mom and protector I can be.